Hi there, welcome to the Lochranza Distillery on the north of the Isle of Arran. We're here today to do a Journey Through the Ages tour with the distillery's excellent tour guide Scott, and this is for the Enthusiast series on the Whisky Baron. Now you may notice I ain't Ian. Sorry about that if you're expecting him, I know, a bit shocking, but my name's Jack, I'm a massive Arran fan, and so we thought today would be a good idea to get me onto the Isle of Arran and to come and participate in the tour, have a look around the distillery. There's loads of nooks and crannies I've been looking forward to visiting. Warehouse 1 is one of them, and this tour promises to take us there. So it's my great pleasure to give you a little walkthrough tour of the Lochranza Distillery on the Isle of Arran. Let's go and have a look.
Welcome guys to the Journey Through the Ages. What I'm going to try and sort of do here is take you and weave that lovely story of the Scotch whisky industry right throughout what we're doing, but also weave the Arran side of things as well. So if you do have any questions about anything from a production point of view, the whisky point of view, or the historical point of view, which is my angle, please ask Jack. No, I'm joking. You can please ask myself as well.
So we started down in the bothy in the visitor centre, had a little introduction from Scott, a bit about his love of history and the history of whisky. Then we've entered into the still house. They're a very shiny, swish new entrance which I've never been in before. And we're now stood in the still house in the new extension which got built last year. It smells gorgeous, they're distilling at the moment. And Scott has just presented us with a cleric conundrum. These are two clerics from the stills here, one using East Coast barley and one using Arran barley, which they've never released yet, but they're obviously producing every year. Which one did we prefer? I went with, I didn't know which ones they were, and I went with the East Coast. I thought it was a bit more tropical, a bit more citric. And then the Arran barley, which still I'm super excited to try when it becomes whiskey, had a much kind of drier, crisper finish. Going to be very exciting to see how this turns out in 3 years and a day and more as it becomes whiskey. So we've just left the still house, the warmth of the still house. We're on our way over to warehouse number 1. But as we walk over it, in the background behind me, you can see this kind of crag. Up there are two nesting golden eagles. The golden eagle features on the logo of Isle of Arran Distillers. The golden eagles halted the building of this distillery back in 1995, but they're up there, they're just about to go into nesting season, and we just saw them flying around on the thermals. It's amazing. What a beautiful sight. So we're like in, it's a bit like the British Library, isn't it? We're in warehouse number 1 with all these old casks. It's a dunnage warehouse. The smell is amazing. It's like wood, whiskey, thyme wafting up your nose. The light level's quite low. It feels very, very atmospheric, and it is a very happy place that I have not been in since about 2015. See what we can find. We've got some sherry butts, some Oloroso sherry hoggies, some wine casks, I think, down here with the kind of cleaner barrel rings on them. I heard this story about in the early days of the distillery, they bought, instead of whole barrels, they bought staves and they just put them together. So they're kind of like Frankenstein casks of maybe a bourbon, a sherry, or different types of sherry making up the barrels. And I hope there's a few left from 95, 96 in here. Oh, I could just pitch up a tent in here and go camping. It's amazing.
So it's a nice example of something that had the wooden surrounds on it. This is hazel. Sometimes you get that chestnut as well. But it's not often you see them with these sort of lit wooden sort of lit hoops anymore, because these are a warehouseman's worst nightmare. Because as soon as you start to roll them, they just go ping and break and everything. But my question to you is, remember, nobody's got this right so far, but why would they have the wooden hoops on them?
It helps the flavour. I know.
Good guess. Helps if Jack, no pressure, my friend. He's not filming you.
I think it's purely decorative down to the winery it was from, and they'd have different designs around the edge. It was to distinguish the cask from a certain winery.
Okay, Jake?
I'd say it's something to do with being able to judge the condition of the cask. So whereas metal maybe wouldn't be sort of bend as much, the wood would maybe have a bit more give to it.
So the reason that they have the wooden hoops on them is because they are there, believe it or not, to take any wood worm from the hardwood to the softwood.
What?
Wow,
But-
that's fascinating.
But Alan Winchester, throughout his 40 years of being master distillery, especially up at Glenlivet, has never seen any woodworm in any cask before. Jack, you're pretty close as well, because they tend to be from French oak casks. And that could harbour back to the phylloxera beetle back in the 1860s, because that just decimated sort of like everything from a vineyard point of view in France. And it might have stemmed from them even to ward out something like woodworm as well. Little known fact.
I'm looking forward to coming
Yeah.
along on the next tour. It can't be with you, and then I'm
Yeah, it's just yeah, as Scott said, that colour is like brioche, a light marmalade, which I wouldn't think of with a bourbon finish, but hey, it's been in there from 1996. Let's do some mental maths. It's been in there 27 years, quite a long time. 28 years. So it was laid down when John Major was Prime Minister.
That's one way of thinking.
That's one way of thinking of it. The nose, the more you keep sniffing it, and I know we're in the Dunnage warehouse now, but it is warehousey, which is really nice. But then on the palate, it's that, it's like someone's got a paintbrush of vanilla and gone.
It's lovely to be able to pull something out with such great quality, but also like a really sort of historical age for us as well. As Jack said, 1996 was the first full year of our production. So we are really lucky boys to be able to taste this in Warehouse Number 1.
What a fantastic dram to start with. I was not expecting that. A real curveball to start with a 1996 and a bourbon 1996. A real privilege to be trying it here in Warehouse Number 1. Good start. Second dram in Warehouse 1 is a 2010 bourbon quarter cask. So what are we now? We're 2024 now, so it's a 14-year-old. Well, it might not be 14. We're early in the year, aren't we? So it's a 13 to 14-year-old Lochranza, unpeated. All sorts of fresh notes, but actually on the nose a lot woodier, and I guess that's from the smaller cask. More liquid in contact with the wood. Faster maturation, different type of maturation. I love them as casks. They're a very manageable size to roll, put in vans, fill with cider, fill with perry, whatever you want. So you join me now, Valence in hand, deep in an Amontillado cask. I'm going to try and draw some whiskey out without spilling it all over the outside of the cask and put it into this vessel. I remember GCSE chemistry, it was quite easy to move liquids to another vessel, but this feels like it has more pressure and more riding on it, to be honest. Oh my God. Here we go.
Well done.
Not like the Basque Country cider pour where you hold this thing above your head and you hold the glass down by your feet and you try to aerate it as you pour it. Well, the smell from that is amazing. Do you want me to put it back in the...
No, just leave it on
on the
the
top?
top of it there, Jack, but you can free pour now.
So dram 3, it's a 2017 Amontillado cask, finished 5 years in bourbon, and then a really surprisingly short amount of time in Amontillado sherry for the flavour profile I'm getting. It's gorgeous. It's like noble rot, funky raisin. I'm thinking Tokai. It's very well balanced. It's my kind of whiskey. I'm impressed. I'm impressed that I didn't spill all of the sample over the outside of the cask. Cheers.
Look at the colour of that. Absolutely beautiful.
It's almost
And
like...
just over a year in that Madeira casks.
Wow, the nose is exceptional. 58%, you wouldn't think, would you?
So here we are on cask number 4 in Warehouse 1. It's a 2017 Madeira. Scott introduced it as an outstanding cask, and when a friend of mine that has loved Arran as long as I have says that about a cask, it is prick. And then he poured it out and rose gold in the glass. An amazing, like a soft fruit berry. It's like autumn hedgerow kind of note. And I know Arran has that kind of orchardy note associated with bourbon, but this is quite different. This is like you've squeezed some raspberries and blackberries in there. And again, 5 years in bourbon and then a slight finish in a Madeira cask. I would not guess that's 58%. Super smooth, super fruity. Another honour in Warehouse 1. So we've just done a little detour into Warehouse 3 for a cask that I collectively went in with my friends back in 2018, the Arranatics. These are some of my friends I've been growing in our kind of friendship relationship from 2011 onwards. From all over the world, we bought a Buffalo Trace first fill bourbon Arran back in 2018, and now it's just sitting here waiting for the right moment. Who knows when that moment could be. So we've left Warehouse 3 in our group cask, and we've moved back into the visitor centre, into the tasting room, and Scott has some more drams for us, which is amazing. And on today we have a lovely expression I haven't tried for a few years from some former members of staff that have picked out their own private cask. We have a White Stag bottling, always great to try. We have a 1995 single cask for Japan. I have never tried this one. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we also have the peated Arran Macrimore, their first expression, which I don't think I've tried for about 6 or 7 years, and I am very much looking forward to getting acquainted with again. Have I had a good time? It's the end of one of my standout tours at a whiskey distillery. It's been fantastic. I don't think I have traversed through Stillhouse, Warehouse, Distillery Visitor Centre the last 30 years in such a tasty, esoteric way. We find ourselves now back in the tasting room at the Visitor Centre. We had another 4 drams. We have in front of us some bottled samples from those drams we tried in Warehouse 1. I think if you want to come to Arran, if you're an Arran stan already and you want to try something unique, tick that box for Scott's Journey Through the Ages tour. You're going to try stuff from the early ages of Lochranza right through to things you may have forgotten about in the last few years, but really stand out. You can have driver's drams to take away with you. You can, as I have done, you can drink drams all the way through and have a great time. Behind me, a selection of different drams you can try if you come in the coming months. The bottles and the selections are going to change. It's fantastic. I've had a great time here, and it's been a real honour to tour the distillery today and show you a little bit more about Lochranza Distillery and what I love about this place on the Isle of Arran. Till next time.